Etta James was born Jamesetta Hawkins on January 25, 1938 in Los Angeles, California to a 14-year-old mother, Dorothy Hawkins, who encouraged her daughter's singing career. Some sources say that Etta never knew her father, while others say that she did meet him in 1987, but he was supposedly a pool hall owner who went by the name Minnesota Fats. By the age of 5, James was known as a gospel prodigy. She became a soloist in the church choir despite her young age and performed with them on local radio stations. But the price of this fame came with abuse. The man who was Etta's vocal coach and choir director used to punch her in the chest while she sang to force her voice to come from her gut. And that wasn't the only abuse the child suffered. According to Wikipedia, Etta James lived with a series of foster parents when she wasn't with her mother. One set of these parents were called Sarge and Mama Lou. Sarge was also abusive. During drunken poker games at home, he would wake Etta up in the early morning hours and force her with beatings to sing for his friends. The trauma of her foster father forcing her to sing under these circumstances caused her to have difficulties with singing on demand throughout her career. Mama Lou died in 1950, and Etta's biological mother took her to the Fillmore district of San Francisco, where she began listening to doo-wop and was inspired to form a girl group called the Creolettes. By the time Etta was 14, they were working for a band leader named Johnny Otis. Otis took the girl group under his wing and helped them sign to Modern Records, and at that point, the Creolettes changed their name to Peaches. It was also at this time that James Etta became known as Etta James. The group sang in answer to a Hank Ballard song called Work With Me Annie and called their version Roll With Me Henry. Otis liked the song, and against the advisement of Etta's mother, the girls went to Los Angeles to record it in 1954. However, by this time, the song had been renamed The Wallflower. This was done to avoid censorship, since roll, back in the day, was associated with sexual activity. The song went on to hit number 1 on the Hot Rhythm and Blues charts. James left the group when her contract ended with Modern Records, and then she signed with Chess Records in 1960. With Chess, Etta sang duets with blues singer Harvey Fuqua. The two had hits together, but Etta's first solo hit was All I Could Do Was Cry. Some of her most iconic songs were released during the 1960s, including At Last in 1960, Tell Mama in 1967, which was written by Clarence Carter, and I'd Rather Go Blind, which was the B-side of Tell Mama. That was a B-side? Wow, that should have most definitely been an A.
Something deep down in my soul said, "Go on and cry, girl."
Anyway, her rendition of At Last became one of her signature songs and the most well-known version of the song. Well, at least until Beyonce covered it in the Cadillac Records movie soundtrack. James continued to record for Chess Records, and in 1969, she was devastated by the death of record executive Leonard Chess. And by the way, the romance that the two shared in the movie Cadillac Records, apparently that was made up. But anywho, after having only brief success in the 1970s, Etta left Chess Records and did not record for another 10 years, while, according to reports, she struggled with drug addiction and alcoholism. With her suggestive stage antics and a sassy attitude, James did continue to perform throughout the 80s and 90s. She opened up for the Grateful Dead in 1982, and she also did a performance with Chuck Berry in 1987, who was her former label mate at Chess Records. In 1989, she signed with Island Records and released the albums 7-Year Itch and Stickin' to My Guns. In 1992, she recorded the album The Right Time, and she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. That same year, she also won her first Grammy for her album Mystery Lady, Songs of Billie Holiday. Beyoncé portrayed Etta James in the fictional movie about Chess Records called Cadillac Records. In the movie, she covered many of Etta's songs, including At Last. When Beyoncé performed the tune at former President Barack Obama's inaugural ball, she was publicly criticized by Etta, who allegedly said that Knowles had no business singing my song that I've been singing forever. It was later reported that Etta's remarks were meant to be received as a joke and stemmed from personal hurt over not having been invited to sing the song for herself. It was also reported that Alzheimer's and drug-induced dementia had contributed to her negative comments about Beyoncé. I probably would have been upset too if someone sang a song that I made great and I wasn't invited to at least sing it as a duet. I'm just saying, we're all human. But moving on. In April 2009, at the age of 71, James made her final television appearance, performing at last on the show Dancing with the Stars. And in May that same year, she received the Soul Blues Female Artist of the Year award from the Blues Foundation for the 9th time. And though she continued to tour, James had to cancel concert dates in 2010 because of her failing health. By this time, she was suffering from dementia and leukemia, but she still released another album in 2011. In Etta James' personal life, she was raised as a Baptist, but after meeting Malcolm X, she became a non-traditional Muslim and changed her name to James Etta X, but she still ate pork and wore non-conservative clothing. Etta James was married to a man named Artis Mills from 1969 until her death in 2012 and had 2 sons, Danto and Sametta James, born to 2 different fathers. In her 20s, she became addicted to heroin. According to online sources, Etta stole from her friends, forged prescriptions, and was arrested for writing bad checks to support her habit. Even though she was in and out of rehab centers in the following years, that was the beginning of her string of legal problems. Etta's husband, Artis, accepted responsibility when they were both arrested for possession of heroin. He took the blame and served a 10-year prison sentence and was released in 1981. In 1973, James was arrested for possession of heroin, and the next year, she was sentenced to drug treatment instead of serving time in prison. During that time, she reportedly became addicted to methadone as well. They say she would even mix the methadone with the heroin. After leaving treatment, however, her substance abuse continued, especially after she developed a relationship with a man who was also using drugs. But in 2010, James received treatment for her addiction to painkillers. What about the heroin, though? No treatment? Okay. Etta James was hospitalized in January 2010 to treat an infection caused by MRSA, and this is when her son Danto revealed to the public that she had been previously diagnosed with Alzheimer's 2 years earlier. The next year, in 2011, Etta was diagnosed with leukemia. She died on January 20th, 2012 in Riverside, California, 5 days before her 74th birthday. 8 days after her death, Etta's funeral was presided over by Reverend Al Sharpton and took place at the Greater Bethany Community Church in Gardena, California. Stevie Wonder and Christina Aguilera gave musical tributes. She was buried at Inglewood Park Cemetery in Los Angeles County, California. Etta James will be remembered for her deep and earthy voice that bridged the gap between rhythm and blues and rock and roll. Her legacy of awards includes 6 Grammy Awards and 17 Blues Music Awards. Her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993, the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999, and the Blues Hall of Fame in 2001, and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award she received in 2003. Rolling Stone magazine had ranked Etta James number 22 on its list of the 100 greatest singers of all time. She was also ranked number 62 on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. Etta James, January 25th, 1938 to January 20th, 2012. Rest in peace, Miss James.